have people get seated, and then
And
we will.
I see three of them and one person did the right thing.
All right, I normally drink out of a cup.
Okay, good, keep it up,
All right,
keep it up.
enough on that.
No, it's never enough. Never enough. Absolutely not.
Ready, Dave?
Yeah, let me just get my stuff in order. Yes, I am ready. Okay, we're going to call to order the Town of Lloyd Board meeting, the regular meeting for May 15, 2024, and I'll ask Councilman Frano to lead us through the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Okay, we have a lot of resolutions tonight, but I think we can move through this pretty well. Again, the meetings were live on WebEx and live streamed on Optimum Channel 22 and available on YouTube the next day. And normally the volume is delayed starting just to go 7-8 minutes in. Okay, we're going to move right to the town board liaisons. And we'll start, Tiffany, you might as well do both beautification and the school district in order.
Okay. I'll start with beautification. The planting was done at the...
Move the thing a little closer, sorry.
Good. Okay. Planting was done in town at the fountain area, the flagpole, and at Veterans Park. We were fortunate to have 2 volunteers from M&T Bank to help, so we're thankful for that. Flower pots that were donated were planted and set up at various corners throughout the hamlet. Lombardi Garden will be done on a weekend when there's more hands on deck. And a big thank you to Sorbello Farms. He's graciously donated all of the flowers to decorate the hamlet with, and he will also be donating the mums in the fall. So we're very grateful for that.
Yeah, he donated a
one.
lot of flowers.
Yeah,
so
a lot.
We thank him for that.
Yep. And the committee will have a table set up out by the clock for Street Fest where we're going to be doing flower bookmarks. So stop by and say hello. School board one.
Hey, before you get off
Yeah, go
that,
ahead.
just one other thing is, they did all this planting this week, and I still see people putting signs in the boxes once they planted flowers, and we probably should try and be a little more
Yeah.
respectful and not pop signs in where people just planted, so.
Yeah.
Would be appreciative, just so the public knows. Thank you.
Yep.
Thanks, Tiffany.
So school board one is a bit lengthy, just because it's budget. So at this time, they have finalized their budget. It's at $54,388,745, which is a little bit more, around a little bit less than $2 million than it was last year. Due to a series of cost increases and a lack of sufficient state aid, they will be reducing multiple positions while still trying to maintain the current level of programs. A complete list of positions being cut can be found on a very helpful video that Joel Freer had put out. If you haven't seen the video, I encourage everybody to watch it. It does have a lot of really useful information on it. It's on the district's website as well as their social media page. All parties involved are still lobbying state-level officials, and they're hoping for more monies to come in so positions can be restored. It's important to realize that the New York State governor is placing a large number of non-urban districts into a fiscal predicament. That compiled with 2% cap districts like Highland. That's been extremely conservative, are going to face tougher times ahead. May 21st is the budget, so get out there and vote. That's in the band room at the high school. And just a reminder for those of you who aren't familiar with how the budget works, if it does not pass, additional reductions would have to be made and then go up for a second vote, or a contingency budget would be created, which would reflect the need for an additional reduction of around $900,000, as well as an elimination of equipment and community use of facilities without fees. This is a super stressful time for the school district, for the board, for the employees, for the students, for the community. While I was at the meetings, there was a ton of heartfelt testimonies. There was a lot of tears by teachers and students. So I just want to remind everybody that, it's important for everyone to get informed, stay informed, and, to support each other during this time. And that's what I have for school.
Thank you. Anybody have questions, Tiffany? Any board? Okay. We want to move on. Well, let me cover the ECC, the Environmental Conservation Committee. We did meet in April. They are preparing for Springfest. They'll have a table at Springfest. What they'll be doing, one, they'll be trying to recruit additional members, because when we joined the Climate Smart Towns last year, one of the requirements was to have a committee, and we're going to have them both be the same, but it looks like it's more work than just one committee can handle. So they'll be here. Neil Curry will be here at one of the June meetings and give us an update on that. They will be at Springfest. As I say, they have their pamphlets updated, and they also will be recruiting. I also got invited last week to, if you remember, a few months ago, Neil had some interns from Vassar that were doing some benchmarking, and one of the things they didn't show us there that I got invited to a Zoom meeting on last week was they presented where our town and 3 other towns were as far as solar and energy usage, looking for opportunities. And there was a couple people on the call who may be able to help us with grants. So it was kind of a good enlightening meeting. So I was glad I attended. So that's it, and as I said, we'll hear from Neil next month. The other one I have is the Lloyd Community Development Committee, and we do have an application for the revolving loan. So the committee is going to meet next week and assess that and see whether that's viable or not, and then we'll go forward, and I'll let the board know that when it happens.
What do we allow an applicant, how much money would an applicant be able to acquire?
Up to $150,000.
Up to 250, okay.
150, Mike.
Okay, I thought it was less, all right.
Yeah, it used to be, at one time it was 75, then it was 100, and it's 150 now.
I know in the past, it was pretty easy to get a loan
Yeah.
through the revolving loan fund, and that was the intention of
Right.
that loan. And I've heard that the interest rates have gotten higher right now.
Ours is 3%.
3%, okay.
Yeah, it's actually a pretty good deal when you look at commercial loans today are about 10 or 11%.
Right, yeah, okay.
So 3%, and it's got a percent origination fee, so it ends up being, the last couple that got it have been very happy with it. We just haven't had any applicants.
I know, I handed out a couple of packets.
Did you?
But
You haven't got it back yet? Because we do have money to loan out, so
Yeah.
it's a good thing.
Great opportunity.
Yeah. Yes, it is. So we'll assess that for an applicant next week. Any other questions on that from the board?
No.
Okay. We'll move to Councilman Freno, and you can do all 3 of yours, John.
Okay. Lighting, we received
I'm not sure you're in the mic, John.
I'm soft-spoken. We received a complaint from a resident on New Paltz Road. They apparently submitted to Central Hudson notification with all the proper information about 2 streetlights being out, and that was in December. And they contacted Margaret, and Margaret sent it to me. I spoke to my Central Hudson rep today. They assured me they just somehow dropped the ball. So they assured me that those 2 lights on New Paltz Road were going to go to the top of the list, and they said in a day or 2 it will be taken care of. I reached out to the resident and told them she was very appreciative, and I gave her my number and said, if your lights aren't on by Monday, call me back and we'll go to the next step. Other than that, I think with lighting, we have a couple of requests for some new lighting and one on South Street. So I don't have the details. I told the person, when you're ready to meet me, show me what you're talking about, and we will take a look at it. So other than that, everything's bright with lighting. And, okay, the Highland Fire District, Highland Hose Company. Month of April, they had 35 alarms. Average firefighters per call was 11, the highest was 26. Number of apparatus responses was 76. Hours for firefighter or for alarms, 328. Firefighter hours for meetings, 89. And hours for training, 123. Miscellaneous, 9. So 549 volunteer hours from the Highland Hose Company. New Paltz Rescue, extremely busy. They had 206 calls last month. I think some of that is the calls that were coming from the nursing home were not going through dispatch, so they weren't being reported by the predecessors. So I know Matt met with all the assisted living and nursing home areas, said this is how, if you need transport, this is the steps that you take. So I believe that those calls are now being accounted for and showing in the monthly report. They had, let's see, 25 calls happened when there were multiple calls, when we had one rig on duty. So 25 times we got an additional rig from New Paltz to come down. The no transports remain fairly high, 37%. And I think there were a couple of calls, several calls that ran over what we would like to see, and they were all because of the Tilson Avenue, or the Vineyard Avenue, closed, so they have to go through the gate, go around. And I understand in a few weeks that problem should go away. But New Paltz is busy. They're at Station 2. Things are working out well there for the second rig. And they're still happy. They're just a little amazed how busy we are in this town. But they're doing a great job. Events, Springfest this Saturday, May 18th. And the Highway Department will come down, and sometime by Friday noon, they will sweep the parking lot, clean up.
They did it today.
They were there today?
I think they're there as
Yeah,
well.
Rich told me he'd have it done by Friday noon, so good, he's done.
They're today.
And I spoke to Reg you're welcome. I spoke to Reg on Monday, asked him if anything he needed, if he was all set, and he said he's good to go. It looks like they have a lot of participants in the event itself as far as vendors and booths. And he and his team are good to go. That's it for that.
Okay.
Pavilion later?
What's that?
You want the pavilion later?
Yeah, well,
Okay.
you could do it now. That's fine.
Do it now?
Because I didn't put it on the agenda, so, yeah, you might as well update that.
Okay. The pavilion, the pump that we needed, the E1 pump for the wastewater, that came in. So Adam, I believe, has everything he needs now to start. I don't know if you saw, they actually ran the trunk line. They put one manhole in, so like on the corner of the laundromat. So now they have to run the water, and they made the water tap, so the water line is live. So now from the laundromat in has to be excavated, and the water and septic lines, sewer lines have to be laid in place. I guess we're going to vote on the electrical piece tonight, and we're trying to coordinate it. So when we're digging the trenches, we do it all at once. We have the electrical going in, the water, the sewer, and be done with it. Yeah, Mike.
I have a question. The laundromat, they pump out their
their waste out on Main Street, and they have a pump that pumps it up. Are they going to hook up to the parking lot? It would be a lot easier, you know, why?
That's really their option, Mike. If they want to do that, they
All
can
right,
do
I
that.
thought maybe, you know,
We've given him that option.
Right.
yeah.
Yeah, we said if you want to do it, they,
Because you're going to blacktop, you know, when,
yeah,
We could actually reach out just to make sure he knows the time frame we're doing it.
right.
That way he can coordinate with Adam if he wants to do it.
And we're meeting with Sean, the architect, Adam, Sean, and I hope to be able, Monday or Tuesday, the latest. Sean's going to mark everything out so we know where all the connections have to go. And as soon as we get water, highway, and electricians all coordinated, we should be moving no more than 2 weeks, 10 days, probably, maybe.
Question, the laundromat
Oh,
comes in, it's based
oh,
on Main Street?
there's no, this is a board meeting. We don't take input from the floor until privilege of the floor.
Pardon?
At privilege of the floor, you could say something if you have something to say.
Oh, okay.
This is a board
I'll
meeting.
I'll add that to my
No, no.
remarks.
Okay.
Okay, Jeff? Anything else, Jeff?
No,
Any
that's
other
it.
questions?
no.
Okay,
All right,
thank you.
Okay, Mike, why don't you go with zoning board, and then we'll see if we can get Lenny on the,
Okay,
On the tube,
the
yeah.
zoning board, there were two applicants. They were they're going to acquire a variance on accessory apartments. They needed more square footage. One was Mark Reynolds from Hawley's Corner Road, and the other was John Conti. They both had too many square feet, so it was approved. So now they're going to move back to the planning board. And then there was another one, the public hearing. This one was continued from a previous meeting, and they were acquiring to split two flag lots. And back in October of 2022, it was denied. So they reapplied, made a few changes, and the planning board, the zoning board did not approve it. All right, and then the first,
so did they, oh, that was back then?
yeah, back in
Okay,
10/22,
okay.
it was denied.
Gotcha.
And then they reapplied, they just reapplied. The First Presbyterian Church,
And Mike, I'm sorry.
Yes.
Maybe I'm getting confused. So it was rejected, they just reapplied. And are they going to have another public hearing, or what's
no,
the
they
next?
they were denied.
They were denied
The
again.
second time.
Second time, got it.
I'm
Okay.
sorry.
That's what I was trying to understand.
I thought I said.
No, you did say that, I probably misunderstood. Thank you.
You're welcome. And the First Presbyterian Church of Highland, they were seeking an 8-foot variance on the rear yard, and that was approved.
Okay,
Okay, that's it.
okay, thanks, Mike.
You're welcome.
Okay, Lenny Akmoody, can you give us the planning board, the Highland Landing Park, and the rail trail? I know Peter's here, you'll probably defer to him. You there, Lenny?
He doesn't hear you?
You gotta unmute, don't Lenny? Yeah, he's got unmute on his end. We'll give him 30 seconds. He's a bit technically challenged sometimes.
I asked if the audio was good, and he said it was, so
Yeah,
we're good on this end.
okay. Okay, while he figures out how to do it, Peter, why don't you give the rail trail update for him? Because I know he's going to defer to you anyway.
So with the weather getting better, we've been working on the trail, our agreement with the Rotary Club on the Rotary Pavilion. We power washed all the building and the concrete, and we're in the process of painting the building now. The feminine products in the bathroom seem to be working well. I haven't run out yet, but it's being used, and I haven't seen any problems. So, yeah, the cookies, yes. Yeah. So in front of you, I put the engineer's report for the Farmers Bridge.
Right.
Basically describes what they wanted and what got done. The live load is 138 people with a foot of snow. or a small
Okay.
pickup on that. If you want the breakdown, I have 83 other pages of the
The
calculations.
only thing, Peter, I did read that based on the intended use and with proper signage, is there signage we need to add up there?
Well, the signage is when we open it up, how to get up and down safely.
Oh, well, I thought it, see, I read this as saying, based on the intended usage and with proper signage, the existing bridge may be used at the reduced load carrying capacity without any rehabilitation to the primary load. So I was just wondering if there was there some weight limit sign we have to put on it, or, that's kind of how I read this.
Well, we're going to net block it off so a vehicle can't drive on it. You know, no
Okay.
vehicles,
And then there was a limit of, there would be a limit of 138 people, or?
yes.
So I think that's,
With a full snow load of the
yeah,
foot.
I think that's what this is referring to, so.
Yes.
We ought to check and make sure if there's some sign we have to get on there, we should get it.
The meeting type of thing? All
Yeah,
right.
yeah, yeah.
So, and there are some improvements that we have to do in the deck, very minor, and put a railing up and whatnot
Okay.
before we open it up. Lost my sheet. So, this Friday is the Pride Walk on the walkway over to Hudson,
Right,
which we really have nothing to do with, but I do.
okay,
So I will be there to help it
okay.
on the
good.
rail trail end between the parking, and you want to bring the flag down there to fold up and whatnot. Mayfest is coming up in 2 weeks, so I'm preparing for that. There's a resolution for Wheels in the Sky. It's more between the park ranger and I, not so much with the Friends of the Walkway. It's a swap meet of parts and a general
Yeah.
education, and Fred Schaefer's going to do a little, bike ride.
Okay,
Again, with the park manager at the end of the rail trail where it meets the walkway, we've been improving that area, cleaning it up, and we put some pollinated gardens, and I opened the trail a little bit. We have to move the fence. So the lady was talking to me one day while I'm working, and she trying to follow her and work. She said she donated a plant to some other place. Would I like a plant? And I says, okay. So she comes back, and she's carrying this big, it's called a Weeping Norwegian Spruce. So it kind of just
Okay.
droops over. So it's at the beginning of the trail. It's a pretty neat conversation piece.
okay, good.
So, and it doesn't need much maintenance. That's about it.
Okay. Thank you,
now.
Peter.
All
Anybody
right.
have questions for Peter?
Friday, you said that they're going to have activity on the bridge?
On the
It's
walkway?
a Pride Walk. It starts at 6 o'clock, but from 4:30 on,
Okay.
they'll be setting up and whatnot. It's a 15 by 500-foot flag that they're carrying across. So they ask for access on the trail to fold it up and then have a vehicle there to pick it up.
Okay. Thank you.
How big is it?
16 feet by 500 feet.
16 by 500, big flag.
A big flag.
Okay. Lenny, can you try speaking again? Okay, we can't hear you, so we're going to move forward. Okay,
Checking his phone.
He's gonna call, looks like he's grabbing
I'm
his
just
phone.
giving him sign language. I'm going.
okay. I will say, I know he'll talk about the Highland Landing Park, but two things we'll point out. The Highland Landing Park, they did stripe the parking lot this week, so the parking spots are clearly defined this down there now. And while we had them here, we also had them stripe the town lot upstairs where the court is, because cars were parked everywhere up there during court sessions, because it was really hard to determine. So we got them both done this week. It was just convenient that we already had them coming to do the landing, and it was like $400 or more to do upstairs, so it made sense to get it done at the same time. So they're both done. And Lenny, if you figure the audio out, we'll hear you whenever you're ready. Okay, so we're going to move forward on to old business on the agenda. The Tilson Talk update. I don't know if anybody was there this week, but the base is down now. They put the base down this week. The curbing was all completed last week. The base is down. They were supposed to do the binder today, but it rained. So the binder will be done before the end of the week, and the guide rails will also be finished before the end of the week. Next week, the schedule is sidewalks early in the week, and then the top coat towards the end of the week. And then, once we get the top coat on, the only thing holding us up from opening the road will be striping. So we spoke in our meeting this week, ourselves, and Rich was there, and the contractor and the consultants, and even if we can get some temporary striping, we're going to do everything we can to try and pull it back a week. Right now, the opening was scheduled for the end of May. If we can get it back before Memorial Day, we'd love to do that. So that's where we're at right now. It looks pretty good out there, and it will be very helpful, again, to get rid of that detour. Any questions on that from the board?
No, does look good. I drove up there
good.
today. It looks
And then they do have some cleanup work to do, until some of the properties, they still have to finish the turf work and some of the landscaping, but we have told them all along our priority was getting the road back open as soon as we could, so we're on our way to do that. The other thing is town cleanup. I know Tiffany led a town cleanup, and we had groups walking in here picking up bags and gloves, and we didn't give a set time, but I know they were all around town, and I know the highway department picked them up. I don't know if you want to say anything additional about that, but thank you first for doing it.
Yeah. No, I would have liked to have seen a bigger turnout, but it was my first go-around. So I do believe Margaret and I had discussed we're going to attempt a fall cleanup as well before the winter months come, and then a spring cleanup really before the grass starts growing for next year. And I believe the Beautification Committee may jump on board with that too, just to kind of, get more people involved. And yeah, I'm really proud of, there was multiple young kids. There was
all
about
ages,
five.
whatever the
Yeah, there was
neighborhood is.
about 5 tweens, I'll call them, who, 2 of them didn't want their pictures taken, but the boys went out there and they put in a lot of work. So I am proud of them and thank, everybody who participated in that.
Good job.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah.
Thank you. And also at the same time on Saturday, we had the twice-a-year shred event. So we had, how many people? We had a ton of people.
A lot of people. It was over 3 tons of paperwork, and it saved over 50 trees.
Yeah, there you go. So that's always a welcome event. People were lined up early that day for it. So thanks, Margaret, for coordinating that also. That's it for old business. For new business and FEMA grant updates. If you remember, I know Mike will remember and John remember, you won't because you weren't here then, but in June of 2022, we put in 3 grants with FEMA, actually with Department of Homeland Security through FEMA. One was for the generator at the pump station by the river. And if you remember last fall, we received that grant. We got it. We just last month went out to bid for the work. That was around $383,000, somewhere in that vicinity.
Somewhere, yeah.
I think the total cost of the project was $421. The other one we put in, we also put a grant in for a generator at the water treatment plant. And just want to back up a minute on these grants because they took a long time. They took actually 2 years for us to get the final notice on. Well, almost 2 years. It was June of 22 when we put them in. And part of what held us up in the beginning was the town of Lloyd was never finished our hazard mitigation plan in 2016. So you have to have a hazard, you have to be part of the county plan and when we went out in 2016, it never got finished. We never completed it. So we continued calling. I continued calling. I called the county, and they had actually delayed their new plan because of COVID. They were supposed to have it done in 2021. So we joined that plan last year, late '22, early '23. And I actually put myself on the steering committee for that, so that, I could show that the town of Lloyd was, really gonna focus and get it done. John took the lead for the town with all department heads, and we got all our input in, so we are now part of their new hazard mitigation plan for the county, which is right now in FEMA's hands and should close within the next 60 days. So we are part of it, and what that did was that made us eligible for these grants. So that's why we got the one last year. So we put the water treatment plan in, and actually this letter was written March 25th, and I didn't get it until last week because they changed, some people changed in there, but it says it's addressed to me, and Margaret has the letter for you. It was addressed actually to Reina Gonzalez, who's Division of Homeland Security, and co-addressed us, and it's basically, I'll just kind of net it out and then you can read it, but it basically says that FEMA has completed the review of the New York State Division of Homeland Security Emergency Services for the Hazard Mitigation Grant, you can go down some of the verbiage in here, but basically, if you go down to the second page, it says funding has been made available in the amount not to exceed project costs of $892,000, with a federal share of $802,000 and a matching share for the town of $90,000. So we got an $802,000 grant for the generator at the water plant. So we have to get into the design of that. It took a long time, but it also helps us. I told you we got ourselves engaged in the hazard mitigation plan, and the water pumps, the pump station generator, and this were both actions that we agreed we had to go complete. So this also checks off 2 actions for us. So that is done. The other grant we put in was we put in a grant, and this was one we were kind of not sure how successful we would be. It was to bury the utilities in the downtown area, in the hamlet. And, one of the hazards that we faced during the storm was, you would lose power, the businesses would lose power, and there was some discussions we had on that particular issue. And I think we included it also in our hazard mitigation plan. We did. But anyway, to make sure, we also have been told we also are receiving that grant. So the grant, they broke into 2 phases. Phase 1 is available for a project cost of $135,000 with a federal share of $121,000, and that's phase 1, which basically is to complete the final planning. The second part of the grant is FEMA would provide funding of $1,009,800 for phase 2, which would be a federal share of 100. So when you add the 2 up, it's a federal share of $1,131,300, and a match for the town of $125,000. So we got these 2 grants. They total up to be $2 million. I think it's fantastic news for the town. It helps us with resiliency, handle some of our hazard mitigation. And the good thing about the FEMA grants is they're 90%. So you get a lot of grants, they're 60%, and the town has to match the other 40. These are 90%. So our town matches 10%. And if the town board remembers, we actually allocated some of the ARPA funding, the COVID funding, towards matching grants. So we don't have to dig, budget for the match because we had already planned ahead for that. So I think it's good news. We have to get projects started on these. The undergrounding one, we're going to try and tie it into the streetscape plan because you'll have the sidewalks tore up. And you can see the scope of this is it's undergrounding them on Main Street from Vineyard to Church, and then it's going behind Vineyard from Milton down to Main. So that's the scope of what the grant could cover, because it's like $10,000 a foot or something like that. It's, or $1,000, I forget the exact, but it's, for this grant, that's what we could cover. So the fact that we'll have the sidewalks tore up any one way, that'll be very helpful.
He was $1 million a mile, right?
Yeah, $1 million a mile, but it went up since then.
I'm sure that.
Okay, 'cause that was 2 years ago. So both of these are good news for the town. We'll start the projects, and Peter Cristiano from Barton and Judas will actually be here at our workshop on the 5th to update us on the streetscape project, because we haven't focused on that in the last 5 or 6 months, other than some sign questions. So he's going to give us an update on that, and we'll have to talk to him about how this grant fits in with that and how we kind of coordinate both. So I don't know if the board has any questions or any thoughts, but I think it's good that, you know, our town gets some federal funding there. Okay? That's it for new business. And we will move on to privilege of the floor.
Can I go ahead?
You have to walk to the microphone, please, and state your name and address.
Your dog is so well behaved. I need a trainer.
Hello, my name is Karen Angel. This is Stella Lou Angel from Alabama. She's from Alabama. I live at 510 North Elton Corners Road in Highland. I write about the Hudson Valley for the New York Times. 2 years ago, a little less than 2 years ago, I wrote a piece on Highland that I've been told by numerous people who have businesses downtown helped put the downtown area of Highland on the map. Just raised its profile. People coming into shops and businesses cited the story as a reason that they came. I would not be able to write that story today. It would be a conflict of interest for me because I no longer feel that Highland has a nice, friendly spirit, and I feel that it has a number of issues. So, you know, today I would not have pitched that story to my editor, because when you have personal feelings presenting you from being objective, you can't write that story. So I actually wrote what I wanted to say because it's rather lengthy, and I wanted to make sure I don't leave anything out. I want to talk about responsiveness and related issues. I emailed you about garbage issues on North Elton Corners Road. I actually emailed you about 100 pictures of garbage and received either perfunctory or no responses from members of the town board. The town supervisor said I could organize a cleanup, and when I asked whether the town could do something to discourage littering and dumping, I did not receive a response. So to be clear, I don't think that going out and cleaning up other people's garbage is sufficient. There's a problem with the culture when people are dumping and littering to the extent that they are in Highland, and you need to change it. Similarly, the fact that 3 of you are sitting here with single-use plastic water bottles says a lot. It's not, in this day and age, that sends a message. You need to set an example, you need to be models, and you need to let the community know it's not okay to throw garbage in the roads, not just go out and clean up other people's mess. That's what we do with children, but these are adults. I received a response from one board member, that's Tiffany, saying the town board would discuss the issue at its next meeting. That was the last time I heard from her, although I did see a post of hers on a Lloyd Facebook groups page saying the town planned to organize a cleanup day, which was surprising since she never got back to me to inform me what had been discussed at the meeting or that there would be a cleanup day. So it's very important when somebody raises an issue, you need to get back to that person. It's just professional. It's how professionals operate. You get back to that person, you say, hey, this is what we discussed, this is what we're going to do. Even if, you know, we're not prepared to put up signs just yet, we're not. And I asked you, Dave, I said, there is in fact something you can do. You can let people know they're going to be fined if they don't clean up their property. That's what happens in other towns. You get fined. It even happened in Little Rosendale when there was a de facto dumping spot of tires. The property owner was told, if you don't find a way to stop this, you're going to be fined. He cleaned up the tires and he planted stuff to let people know, this property, I have eyes on this property and it's being taken care of, and no, you can't dump your tires here. So that's how you change a culture, and that's how you change, practices in an area. Then I came to a meeting here 2 years ago to ask if something could be done about electric fences in the front of properties that continue along the perimeter of the road to prevent dogs contained by such fences from harassing people passing by on the road with dogs. And you will note, this is a very small dog. She weighs 9 pounds, right? I have 3 other dogs. They're all small. So if an enormous dog the size of a tank rushes at us barking and snarling, they're going to react and be upset, and it's going to basically ruin our walk. And it actually gave me elbow tendonitis. So I was not informed that the town code, in fact, includes a clause that makes that illegal. And I'm quoting from the town code now. A dog shall be permitted to run at large on the property of the owner, other persons harboring same, provided that the dog is not dangerous, the dog does not chase or bark at persons, automobiles, bicycles, or moving vehicles, causing unreasonable disturbance in the neighborhood, or imperil the safety or disturb the comfort and repose of any person. I did not receive a response from the town supervisor when I informed him that, in fact, this is a rule enshrined in the town code, which was disappointing because I consider not being able to walk on one's road without being harassed a substantial quality of life issue. The dog warden told me that he would need to check with the town supervisor to see, quote, how he wants to enforce this, which was perplexing because everything in the town code needs to be enforced. We can't enforce one rule and not enforce another rule because we don't like that rule or our friend doesn't like that rule. All rules must be enforced equally. I was surprised to get a call from the dog warden today saying that he would speak to both homeowners on my road who are in violation of this rule and make sure they follow it in the future. I am guessing that the call is the result of Lloyd Police Sergeant Jesse Vale calling the dog warden and not the town supervisor calling the dog warden, because I showed Sergeant Vale a video of my dogs and me being harassed by a dog on an electric fence while we were trying to walk by, and he said he would call the dog warden on my behalf. Please be aware that when one community member voices concern about a given issue, there are almost always others who share that concern. I ran into my neighbor pushing her toy Yorkshire Terrier in a carriage, and when I asked her why she didn't walk the dog, she said she was afraid to do so on our road because there are so many out-of-control dogs. She shared with me that she was once bitten, yes, Stella, she was once bitten by a dog, it's upsetting. She was once bitten by a dog on the road and was recently chased by German shepherds that were loose in their yard, an issue I had reported numerous times to the dog warden. So I've been dealing with this for 2 years. 2 years ago, I should have been told, it's in the town code, we'll take care of it, end of story. Regarding the police, I was discouraged when I went to file a trespassing complaint against my deranged neighbor, you probably all know who that is, which is an upsetting enough issue to have to contend with without piling on, and an officer behind the one I was speaking to grabbed his crotch. This incident, which I became aware of because the officer I was speaking to suddenly smirked and I rolled around to catch the first officer in action, was confirmed by the police chief. I was further discouraged when I posted about the incident on the Lloyd Facebook group's page, and most of the responses concerned the fact that my name is Karen and showed little to no concern about the issue I was reporting. The crotch grabbing, combined with the community response and the abhorrent sexual hazing and sexual bullying incident that took place at the middle school last fall, lead me to believe that there is a culture of bullying in Highland. You don't get kids willing to perpetrate such horrific antisocial acts on fellow students without parents, in effect, raising bullies and condoning and committing bullying acts themselves. And yet I saw that in full display when I went on that page and said, hey, you guys should be aware, this officer grabbed his crotch. It was totally inappropriate. All they cared about was the fact that my name was Karen. And it's like, wow. We have a bunch of third graders here in Highland, adult third graders, and it's not pretty. It is not pretty. I'm not saying everybody is like that, but there's a large enough proportion of the population to make it really distasteful to someone who's not like that and doesn't want to be in contact with people like that or be around them. I saw this dynamic in full swing on that Facebook page. I would encourage you to address and attempt to mitigate this culture in some way. And I will add, the thing at the school, I'm certified to foster children, and I'm looking at, I don't just bring dogs up from the South, I'm looking at bringing a teenager up from the South, and I am extremely concerned about sending her to the Highland School. And the other thing is, I sent you figures. The Highland schools are mediocre in every measure of the word. Testing is, yes, they are. It's like they're completely, SAT scores below, maybe not in your world, okay, but in my world, SAT scores below 600 is considered mediocre.
Excuse me, I think you want to talk about the school district, you could take that up with the school district. Okay.
But she's shaking her head, and I don't want to say some of what, but it's different. You live in a different world than I do. So in my world,
hold it. You're not going to assume what we're thinking.
No,
Okay?
I can
Part
assume.
of the issue I'm seeing
I can
here-
assume.
Okay, hold on. I got a
assume.
chance to talk now.
Oh, but I'm not done. May I finish?
Okay, you finish.
Okay, I last time I was here, you said not to presume what you were thinking. People presume what other people are thinking all the time. I presume that you don't care about certain issues based on your actions, okay? That is a fair presumption. I make educated guesses. People do that all the time, okay? And I'm a lot more qualified to make educated guesses than most people because I'm highly educated and I write for what is arguably the most influential newspaper in the country. So, in addition, I can't find a single Highland resident who is in favor of more development here, which seems to be the sole focus of this board. Why is this the case? People are much more concerned with quality of life issues like the ones I have raised than they are with adding more housing units to the area. Highland and its government have a reputation for being unconcerned with those issues and also environmental protections, single-use plastic, case in point. I was both heartened and dismayed when a driver stopped on the road as I was walking my dogs to hand me a flyer inviting me to an environmental series being hosted at a local church. While it was great to see such an initiative being organized by citizens, it's depressing to realize that citizens here who are concerned about protecting the environment feel they must step up because the local government is AWOL when it comes to these issues. And then something that's related is we have these insidious deliveries of the Times-Herald Record Extra tossed in our driveways, and there's no way to stop them, and the paper's like rotting in people's driveways. Despite my making numerous calls to the paper's customer service line, I called Margaret, I asked her, could she do anything? No, they still show up. I don't want them. They're a waste of paper and plastic rot. They're an eyesore. They're horrible for the environment. And they advertise when you are away from home for any length of time. So I don't understand why the town can't stop them. And just to add something else, when you don't get back to someone, whether or not that person holds views that are antithetical to yours, it affects your reputation personally, and it affects Highland's reputation as a town. Why you would do that with somebody who writes for the New York Times, to me, that's particularly nutty. And the reason is this, that I was out this past month reporting a story on the environment, actually a Hudson Valley environmental story. And the first person, I don't even bring it up, but the first question people ask me is, where do you live? And this is how I say where I live. I'm ashamed to tell most people I live in Highland. The people I know, that highly educated, progressive people, I don't want to say I live here. So I will say, I'm sorry, you disagree with me, but that's no reason to be disrespectful.
I disagree with you criticizing us, saying that you're better than us.
Oh, I didn't say that, but I'm saying why I'm unhappy. And it has to do specifically.
Okay. Are there any other points you have to make?
Yes, I'm finishing, but that is very disrespectful, and you must stop.
Okay, but disrespectful to you, it's disrespectful to me when people don't stand for the pledge. So different people have different.
That's none of your business. Maybe I'm a socialist.
Different people are offended in different ways.
but that's not-
And I
I'm a
respected what
socialist.
you
I am-
did and left
No, I
that up
don't
to
even
you.
wanna talk about that. That's part
So
of why
don't-
I'm
What I don't
ashamed.
want you in here, and what we won't condone
let
is
me-
is you
let me
coming in
finish.
here telling us what we are and calling us names and everything else.
I'm telling you how
You told me
I
you were
perceive
finished.
it. I'm telling you how I perceive it.
And we understand it. We
And
got
it's
that.
not just me. There's like,
Okay,
I'm
you're the only
speaking
one
for-
coming up telling us that.
Okay, so
okay?
I would like to finish, whether it's just me or 5,000 people.
I thought you said you
I
were
would like to.
finished.
No, I'm not, because I was interrupted by the disrespectful gestures being perpetrated over there. So what I would like to say, what I would like to finish by saying is that, so I always say, when people say, where do you live? I say, I live in Highland, one road outside New Paltz, and boy, does that road make a huge difference. That's what I say. Then they will add, another incident that happened is I called the Highland rep in the legislature to say, hey, nobody's getting back to me about the garbage or the dog issues. What do I do about that? She didn't get back to me. Okay, so here's what happened. Then Peter Criswell, who's the head of he's the chair of the legislature, got in touch with me because he wanted to pitch a story to me. He wants me to pitch a story to the New York Times, and I'm actually interested in his idea. And while he was there, I said, hey, this rep never got back to me. It's so ironic. I'm calling her to talk about non-responsiveness of the local government, and she doesn't get back to me. I mean, what the heck? So he called her and said, hey, you need to get back to people. This is what I mean about it affecting your reputation. If you want to take that as a statement, I never said I was better than you. I am different from you. That's for sure. But I never said that if you want to take it that way, that's your prerogative. But these are my concerns. And I was concerned enough that I immediately, when you guys didn't get back to me about the garbage, and I was like, this is disgusting. I mean, I'm like living amongst pigs, first of all. I started looking for property. But I couldn't, let me finish. I couldn't find, I have a beautiful property, a newly renovated house, and I couldn't find something comparable. But this is the effect that this type of thing has, because not everyone here is like you, and they're not going to be like you anymore, okay? The more people are moving from Manhattan, the less they're going to be like you. They're going to be like me, people who went to Ivy League graduate schools, people who work for multinational companies.
There you go again,
and they're
though.
used to this.
Enough.
You are trying to degrade the people of Highland, and I don't accept that. I do not degrade my school. Let's get straight. Hold on, John. Let's get straight. First of all, I did respond to you. We're done. You're done. You said you were done.
Waste? What do you mean by the laundromat is dumping waste on Main Street? That's concerning.
Not what he said.
I didn't,
That's exactly what he said, and you can look. Oh, that's
You heard what you wanted to hear. He said it is pumping. He said it is pumping its sewage into the sewage line on Main Street. That's what.
Check the record.
We'll check. So let me respond now. I now have. Okay, hold on. No, hold on. Let me respond, please. Miss Angel, we gave you the respect of listening to you. Now I'm going to ask the town board. I am going to. No, I am going to. You weren't talking civilly to us. So. Okay, and I'm going to give you my answers to your opinion.
We're uneducated pigs. We got it.
What's that?
We're uneducated pigs. We got it. That is what you.
All right. Look.
On social
Look. You are
media,
disruptive.
And right there, you refer
Yeah.
to anybody
Call
who
the police
didn't go
because she's
to an
disruptive
Ivy
now.
League school as an uneducated
Have a nice night.
pig.
You continually
That is what.
ungrammatically up there.
Oh, okay, wait, look, we're going to accept the fact that we're not as smart as
Okay, you
Let's move
need to
forward
leave.
so we can support the other 11,332 residents of the town. Thank you.
You're right. We're uneducated pigs. Goodbye.
And your 4 dogs are illegal in the town.
what did you say to
not.
me
Okay.
before the meeting?
Okay, and I'm not going to say, just for public record, we did respond to Miss Angel. We said we can organize a cleanup. She wouldn't do that unless we agreed to put cameras all along Elton's
Correct.
Place and spend a bunch of money enforcing, which,
Actually, she said, no, I'm not going to organize a
Right.
cleanup. I'm going to move.
Right.
That's what she
So,
said.
so the net is, you have this come up once in a while, and when you keep hitting the same thing, and the dog warden, has taken cases like this to the judge that the judge threw out. So he didn't feel comfortable ticketing this person. So there's always another side to the story, and I'm not going to sit here and talk about all the issues. I'm just going to say, always understand the other side of the story. And there is one here, and we'll let it go at that. I know there's over 11,000 residents in the town from all over the place, and we respect them all. We listen to them all, and we don't always agree with them, and some people take not agreeing as not listening, and I can't help that. And I don't know if Mike or Tiffany or John want to add to that statement or not, but that's where I'm at on it.
Make it clear that that site, that Facebook site, the social media site, is not ours.
Not our site,
No,
right?
it's
So
not
we
our
won't comment
site.
on that.
We don't comment on it.
It's not our site.
No, I mean, perhaps some of the reason she doesn't get responses is the way she delivers her message.
Correct.
Well, she came in and instantly was attacking water bottles.
Yeah, which are
She
legal,
didn't
and
stand for the
we have
pledge. I mean,
recyclable
it was
bins.
just aggressive in every aspect.
And I found it, one of the first things she said, speaking of the water bottles, is she assumed that we have 3 water bottles, and all
You're
3
gonna-
of us would dispose of them improperly.
Right.
That's what she assumed.
So-
We were going to throw them out, not recycle them as they're supposed to be done.
And we do focus on complaints that come in, and we prioritize them based on most needs and what fits the most of the team. So I don't know, Mike, anything else you have to say? I don't want to dwell on it forever. It's
As
just-
far as the garbage goes, I mean, that's part of the culture, I mean, you could clean up the street and people just throw their garbage out the windows, I mean, I understand what she's saying. It looks terrible.
100%, and agree with her. The garbage aspect.
It does.
And that's, I know her road, and I drive down it every morning, and that's why I said, I see it, I agree with it. Yes, we need to do something about it, for sure.
I think maybe, maybe the school, with the students, set up a program, develop a flyer or a mail, and have the young kids talk about it, I mean,
We can't follow people around.
I know,
Yeah.
it's hard. And I understand what you're saying there, but
So there's, we'll handle complaints as they come in, and we'll respond, and we'll continue to be responsive. And I think so far, all of us on this board have proven we're responsive to people.
the dog catcher, Andrew, is that his name?
What's that?
Yes.
Andrew, and I spoke to him,
Oh, yeah,
and he spoke to her. We've been through this a few times, yeah.
okay.
And since my 2.5 years on the board, I think this board, all of us, are very responsive. You
Yeah.
get something, you respond. I get something.
Sometimes I don't
different.
respond, sometimes you respond.
Right.
Yeah.
You know.
So, it's
Say the
to me,
board is
it's
not responsive, I don't
everybody
think-
has their own opinion.
I don't
She
think
said
that's a
it.
fair assessment.
But coming in here, dropping a bomb and leaving kind of just shows me what I'm dealing with. So I'm going to end it at that.
No, and if they're coming in and they are like her,
We'll end it.
yes,
So-
you are.
We'll end it there. I don't think we need to
Okay.
have further discussion on this. Okay?
Yeah, we wasted too much time.
Okay, we've spent enough time on it. So let's move to the motions and resolutions. Motion A is to approve the minutes. You put the dates in? Oh, okay. So we don't have to do that then. Got it. Resolution B is to authorize the payment of vouchers as audited by the audit committee.
Motion.
Second,
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Motion carried. Okay, motion C, whereas the Town of Lloyd Events Committee has organized Spring Fest to be the Hamlet Highland on May 18, 2024, and whereas Hudson L. LLC, Milton Avenue, are planning on attending and have requested permission from the town board to sell beer and/or hard cider at the event in a designated roped-off area, and whereas the town board is desirous of granting aid permission to said business as requested. Now therefore, it is resolved as followed. The Hudson L. LLC is hereby granted special permission to sell serve beer at Springfest in a designated roped-off area on Saturday, May 18, 2024. And be it further resolved that the special permission is contingent on Hudson L. providing documentation to the town that they have obtained the required permits and/or licenses from the NYS Liquor Authority, and they have necessary insurance in place. Can I get a motion?
Motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Okay, motion carried. Okay, the next resolution is to approve the fall, and we don't have a letter on this one, so we don't need A's, so we can just back letter the other ones. Okay, thank you. Okay, resolution to approve the following budget amendments as listed there. I don't know if anybody has, well, can I get a motion?
Motion.
Which one?
We're on the resolution on the budget
Oh,
amendment.
No number,
Budget
okay.
amendment.
Yeah, there's no number. She's gonna fix that.
Your motion, I'll second it.
Okay. Any discussion?
Nope.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, all opposed? Okay, motion carried. Okay, Resolution D and E actually go together. So Resolution D was to amend a solution from 4/20/22 for the LMO3 machete mower. The original resolution stated financing will be provided from the highways unexpended funds, and it's Resolution E actually shows where the money is coming from. So it's a resolution to approve the amendment to the highway unexpended as listed there for the plus out of one account and the minus out of the other account of $72,795.72.
Motion?
Second?
Wendy, roll call since there's 70,000 people.
Okay. Frano.
Yes.
Slavchek.
Yes.
Guerrero.
Yes.
Rizzo.
Yes.
I'm sorry,
Okay.
who seconded that?
What's that?
Mike did.
Mike did.
Okay,
That's
thank
John
you.
and Mike, yeah. Okay, Resolution F, to amend the working hours for Town of Lloyd Highway Department from the current hours of 7 to 3:30 to summer hours of 6 a.m. to 2:30, effective May 27th, 2024, at the recommendation of Highway Superintendent Richard Klotz.
Motion?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, all opposed? Okay. Resolution G, promoting Gary W. Shepherd to the position of working supervisor at the base rate of $30.64 an hour, effective May 18th, 2024, with the standard one-year probationary period review at the recommendation of Richard Klotz, Highway Superintendent.
Motion.
Second?
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, all opposed? Okay, congratulations, Gary. Well-deserved.
See, huh?
Okay, Resolution H is to accept the resignation due to the promotion of Gary Shepherd from the position of heavy motor equipment operator, effective May 18th, 2024.
Motion?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Okay. Resolution I, and this is the one John spoke of before on the electrical work for the pavilion, whereas the town of Lloyd has solicited quotes to install the meter box, 8 external outlets, and run lines to the 200 amp breaker box to be installed in the Stacy Pavilion. And whereas the 3 quotes were received, and you can see them there, and we're taking the lowest bid, which is P&G Electric, of $5,100. Therefore, the town of Lloyd accepts the low bid from P&G Electric for $5,100. Can I get a motion?
Motion.
Motion.
Here, the second for you?
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, all opposed? Okay, Resolution J. This is to renew the this is to renew the GPI engineering consulting contract for use of highway transportation grant activity. Can I get a motion?
Motion.
Second.
And let's just discuss for a minute. We had this agreement from 2022 and it expired. So all we're really doing is renewing it. We actually haven't used them, but there are some culvert grants that if they get it, they'll need engineering work, and that's what, we won't have to go through and sign another agreement there, so. Okay.
All in favor?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay.
Excuse me.
Resolution K, and we saw at the workshop meeting our updated or renewal of our MVP policy. It's to sign a contract with the Reese Group for MVP employees insurance as per discussion at the May 21st, 2024 workshop. Can I get a motion first?
Motion.
Second.
Any discussion? I mean, did all the questions get answered? You had a question, John, and I think you had a question, Tiffany?
I did, yeah.
And I think their answer, the net of it is, this saves us upfront premium, is what it does. So you're just risking the higher copay. So it's a good deal, so you're saving fixed costs out of it. Okay, so I have the motion, got no further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, Resolution L to designate the 2023 highway unexpended monies as follows for 2024-2025 CHIPS projects at the recommendation of Richard Klotz, Highway Superintendent, and that's Bellevue Road at $132,500, Raymond Avenue at $6,000, and Clearwater Road at $26,500. Can I get a motion?
Motion.
Second.
John and Mike, any discussion? Roll call this, Wendy?
Sure. Frano?
Yes.
Plowcheck?
Yes.
Guerrero?
Yes.
Rizzo?
Okay, motion passed. Okay, motion M. The Highland Business Association would like to schedule Saturday, July 20th, 2024 for the annual Highland Block Party celebration, and they request the following streets and parking lots be closed for the event. Main Street from Vineyard Avenue to Church, Vineyard Avenue from Milton Avenue to the driveway past number 50 Vineyard, the large municipal parking lot driveway next to the Methodist Church. Can I get a motion?
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Okay. Resolution N. This is to authorize the supervisor to request Ulster County Civil Service to approve a new position statement of duties for a full-time account clerk to be added to the Town of Lloyd positions listing at the recommendation of David Plavchek, supervisor. Can I get a motion?
Motion.
I get a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Okay, we did budget for this last year, and then, we hired Lori Littman part-time, and in the future, we would like to make that a full-time position. So we have to get the position approved first, so that's what that was for. So, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, Resolution O is to authorize the supervisor to request Ulster County Civil Service to approve an NPDS, which again is new position statement of duties for a 4th sergeant position at Town Lloyd Police at the recommendation of Chief Jim Chanso. Can I get a motion?
Motion.
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Okay. I'm not going to read the entire next resolution, but let me kind of brief through because this is for a Stewart Shops. This is the water sewer extensions. And some way we didn't do these earlier, which we probably should.
They had a holdup with DEC, so
Yeah.
everything kind of just got stopped, and we went,
Yeah,
oh,
so
we
we're
need to.
doing them now. So we didn't do them with the other, if you remember, we normally do everything with the development agreements at the same time. So, so the first one is the resolution, whereas petitioned by Stewart Shop under Article 12 of Town Law for the extension of the Highland Water District, the said position being dated March 21st, 2021, has been filed with Town Clerk and duly presented to Town Board. CPL Architecture has prepared to file the map and report with the Town Clerk. The Town Board has adopted an order reciting the improvements proposed, the boundaries, and specifying the date and time where Town Board would hold the public hearing. The improvements proposed will be constructed by the owner and will be hooked up to the Highland Water District without cost or expense to the Water District taxpayers. This is an ad valorem district, and there's no debt service or benefit assessment, and no application to the controller is necessary. This is a no-cost extension of the Highland Water District and no further cost for taxpayers. Whereas the extension proceeding is a Type 2 action exempt from seeker under the New York town laws that you can read there. Whereas an order was fully adopted by the Town Board on January 19, 2022, reciting the following of the petition and the improvements and the estimated expense specifying February 16, 2022 as the time and place Town Hall where the public hearing was held. Such order was duly posted and published. A hearing in the matter was held by the board the 16th of February and continued for several meetings thereafter. Now, therefore, Upon evidence that such hearing and upon motion set forth, it's resolved and determined that the petition is signed and approved per the requirements of Section 191 of Town Law. All property owners within the proposed extension are benefited thereby, and all property and property owners benefited are included within the limits of the proposed extension. It's in the public's interest to grant the whole of the relief sought, and it's further resolved and determined that the establishment of an extension to the water district be approved and the district extended, the improvement mentioned be constructed and service be provided, and the extension shall be designated known as Stewart Shops Development Extension of the Highland Water District and shall be bounded and described as set forth in Appendix A. It's further resolved to determine that the proposed improvement, including costs of right-of-way, construction, and all other expenses will be paid by the owner. It's further resolved, town clerk of this town shall, within 10 days after the adoption, file the certified copies in duplicate with the Department of Audit and Control in Albany, pursuant to town law section 194 and 195. Can I get a motion?
Motion.
Second.
Second.
Okay, any discussion? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Okay, motion carried. Instead of me reading this next one, it is exactly the same, except it's for the sewer district. So we'll save it so I don't have to drink more water tonight.
Yeah, you better get it.
This is a resolution where Stewart's is now looking for the sewer petition. It's the same date it was filed, March 21st. The only difference is, down about the fourth paragraph, whereas the improvements were estimated to cost $29,518 and will be constructed and paid for by the owner of the premises without any cost to the Highland Water Sewer District. So this is them putting improvements in our district to be able to hook up. And they the improvements constitute an extension of the sewer district as type 2, doesn't require seeker. The order was adopted January 19, 2022. The public hearing was held February 16th. And therefore, it's resolved and determined that the petition was approved by law, duly complies with the requirements of Section 191 of town law. All property owners within extension are benefited, and all property and property owners' benefit are included within the limits of the proposed extension of the district, and it's in the public's best interest. And be it further resolved and determined that that the extension and the improvements be constructed, and the extension shall be known as the Stewart Shop Development Extension of Highland Sewer District, and shall be bounded by as set in the Schedule A. It's further resolved that the proposed improvement, cost of right-of-way, construction costs, legal fees, and all other expenses shall be paid for by the owner, and the town clerk will file within 10 days certified copies to the State Department of Audit and Control in Albany, and recorded with the Ulster County Clerk pursuant to Town Law Section 194 and 195. Can I get a motion?
Motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 All opposed? Okay. Resolution R. Whereas the town of Lloyd has solicited quotes to replace the HVAC units in the main meeting room and the 2 units in the supervisor's office, whereas 3 quotes were received. You can see the quotes that are there. Now, therefore, the town of Lloyd accepts the lowest bidder, CJ Heating and Air Conditioning. Can I get a motion?
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Okay, and we're gonna get this one in the meeting room before it gets too hot.
It'll be too cold.
Yeah. Motion S. Well, we gotta make sure it's quieter, Mike.
Yeah.
A motion S to approve the Wheels in the Sky, a joint event at a walkway over the Hudson and the Hudson Valley Rail Trail featuring a bicycle show and swap meet, guest speakers, bike safety and maintenance seminars, and a bike tour across the walkway on Saturday, June 8th, 2024, from 12 noon to 4 p.m. at 87 Haviland Road. Can I get a motion?
Motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Okay, motion carried. That's all I had on the agenda tonight. Is there anything else from the town board?
I just have a question. For privilege of the floor, isn't there a requirement, or don't we have a guideline in place that limits?
That's 5 minutes. It's actually, we do that for a public hearing, John. We haven't done that for privilege of the floor, but, if the town board thinks that's worthwhile, then we'd have to propose that. We didn't put the specific time, I don't believe. In
At our last town clerk's meeting, they said that they call it something different, though. They don't call it privilege of the floor, and they do 3-minute limits.
Okay, I know we do in public hearings normally, but, it's up to the town board. If you want to bring it forward, we can have that discussion.
All right.
And adopt it.
Something to think about.
It's up to us to adopt if you guys want to do it, so. Anything else? Anybody else from privilege to the floor? I'll leave it open for a minute.
The young gentleman here, are you here just to see how government operates? The young Boy Scout?
Doesn't usually operate like that. Sorry.
A good experience. I needed, for one of my merit badges, citizenship.
Okay.
Oh, good. It's not always like that.
I hope you've learned something from it, and I I do appreciate, and I know I've seen assuming your dad around, but some of the other Cub Scout events, and we seem to have a lot of Cub Scout and Boy Scout events, and Girl Scout events, and we seem to have a lot of them coming to our meetings, and we've been attending a lot of events, and they've been very helpful, and we're very appreciative of what the Scouts organization is doing in town, so thank you.
In fact, Dave, this past weekend, working with the Legion, the Scouts, there's over 1,200 and something flags that go on veterans' grave sites, and the Scouts, we wouldn't be able to do it without the Scouts, quite honestly.
Yeah.
Good,
So
thanks.
Thank you.
they add a lot to the community.
Comment, it's now Scouting America.
Scouting America, okay. Yeah, so
That's why I say Scouts, because I don't
Okay.
remember that. So
I covered them all, but now I'll use the term Scouting America. Thank you, Peter.
So
Can I
thank you.
just get your
Thank you
name?
for being here.
Can I just get your name?
Adrian.
Adrian?
Adrian.
You want to spell that for me? Last name?
She can spell Adrian, I'm sure of that.
Unski.
And the reason she does that, it'll go into public minutes, and then for your certification, if anybody would question it, it's in the
It'll be in the
minutes. So
minutes,
that's the way it works, so, there for the record, so, thank you. With that, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. Thanks, everybody.
Hey.
Let Wendy turn off the camera.
Get around methane gas.